when I was looking through Facebook and I came across your portrait series, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like the one that I saw, you could tell that this person had been in there working for so long and so many hours that she even had the indentation in her face. And
Yeah,
you just captured that so perfectly.
I do a lot of those for sure. That's what it started with. Is like how long ago was it? In April of last year.
Okay.
I
So when the
was
whole lockdown started,
yeah, when the lockdown started, my company went to all working from home, and I was like, oh crap, I'm a people person. What am I going to do? I'm bored silly. Netflix is going to get old pretty quick. But I always wanted to get good at painting people. I was like, sort of, whatever. And I
I
thought,
mean,
well,
do you have that background? Do you have that
I have
experience?
a fine art degree in painting and
Okay.
drawing and a computer animation degree.
Okay.
But I started, well, I did storyboards for movies, and I can draw it. I wasn't really doing a lot of artwork all the time. At my work, I make video games, and I started as an artist, but after about 6, 7 years, I came into management and been management kind of since for 22 years. So art is just
What
a thing
you're
I do on the
doing now
side.
is very different than gaming, though.
Oh yeah,
This is amazing. And I see that you have some behind you.
yeah.
So,
That's
so I
that's
interrupted you when you were telling me like how you got the idea to do this.
right. So we were in lockdown. It was like the first week, and I thought, well, okay, I want to start drawing people, so I'll just draw some relatives and sort of painted my dad and my son and things like that. And it was just like I didn't like trolling Facebook to try to find pictures of people that so it just yeah, I was just not motivated. But I only had like 2 posts on Instagram and probably one follower, and went onto Instagram and found Time Magazine had this Time post of persons of the year, which was
Mhm.
at the time Italy was going through its peak, and all these Italian nurses with the
Yeah.
things on their faces and their bags under their eyes, and they looked horrible. But you could just feel it. You could feel like,
Right.
oh
Right.
wow, look at those guys. Like yeah, that's I want to paint that. That's got emotion. So I painted 3 of them, and then reached out to ones that Time Magazine, this is the person, said, hey, if you're interested in having this, I'll send it to you for free. And they did. They were excited, and I speak Italian, so there was some back and forth fun. But then I started getting um, some of these in. It was not very many. Um, Locally, ACE, the Alliance for the Creative Economy, did a artists in quarantine, and I had like 6 pictures, and here, look at these.
So did you start asking them for the pictures?
Initially, yeah, there was probably I asked about 3 different people, and then well, actually, most of the ones I asked were local because I wanted to do somebody locals from like Saratoga Hospital or Albany Med or something like that. So I reached out to friends and family, and they knew a person that knew a person, and then they sent in a picture. And as soon as that happened, it was like, oh, hey, I saw this picture you did of this person. Can you do me? And then,
But it's
then
but
it
it's
started piling in.
it's what you said though. Like there's something about your pictures, your what the drawing that it's just when I first saw the first one that I saw on your Facebook,
Hmm.
it speaks to you. Like you feel the emotion. It's almost like it's
Well,
alive.
that's the
It's
whole reason I
incredible.
painted him.
Yeah.
It's not just to paint it, because when I said when I'm asking for these pictures, not asking, when I actually had people send things in. I didn't want the cutesy,
Like the
selfies
pose,
that you
right?
see,
Like looking
because you
good.
get a lot of nurses that are like, look at me with the cute uniform or PPE. No, I don't get those. I get the ones that are like, wow, it's a 12-hour shift and they
Mhm.
look raw and they're their best self.
Right.
That's their victors.
So how long, let's say, how long does it take you to do one?
On the average, I'd say the shortest ones are like 3 hours and the longer ones like 4. So like this is one I did like a few days ago,
Okay.
is probably 3.5 hours, 4 hours.
Wow, that's it. It would
Well,
take me like a whole weekend. It would not look like that.
you do a few of them, it gets done.
So Steve, what is the do you charge people for that?
For medical workers, I don't.
Okay.
It's free. Now, if somebody wants to have their grandson painted or their grandkid or their niece or whatever, even if they're like a medical worker, but the person doesn't know about it,
Hmm.
I'll usually say, yeah, there's a fee for that. But
Okay.
um,
Are you
it,
displaying them anywhere? Are you going to have, I mean, now I know with COVID, you can't really go anywhere. So you can't really go to an art gallery and display them.
there is actually some on display,
Okay.
but
Where?
most of them at the very like in July or June, the Albany Center Gallery did a pop-up, but I didn't have any pictures to show because I've been just giving them to people.
Okay.
So they asked me if I wanted to do a show, and if I did, could I have 30 paintings? I'm like, how long do I have? Well, I have 2 weeks. So uh, I did 30 paintings in those 2 weeks and just told
Wow.
the people that I was painting that I would give it to them after the show is done. So that was an actual show. That one's online, and you can actually see that online. But
Okay.
there's about 4 at, if you're in Albany, uh, Art Forms Gallery in Guilderland has, they were doing framing for some of these portraits
Okay.
for the medical workers for free. So there's 4 of them there. And there's 6 of them in New York City at Art on the Avenue for New York City medical workers. And then there's 4 in the Museum of Labor in Jersey.
That's amazing. And if people aren't from those locations and they want to check this out, you said there's some online. Where
Well,
is
the
that
Albany Center Gallery did a online tour, so you could take an online tour. But my Facebook and my Instagram is the
the place to
best
go?
place because I think the the poster behind me is from the show. There's probably 30 pictures there, but I've done 245, I think, something like that.
Can anyone see that on your page or do they have
Yeah,
to be friends? Oh,
no,
okay.
well, you can be a friend if you want.
Okay. So how many would you say from since when it started in April until now? How many do you have an idea total?
I think it's 204. Where's my spreadsheet? I have a spreadsheet. I have to keep track of who my correspondence is back and forth.
240. Is there one in particular that really, I'm looking them up as we speak. Is there one in particular that you did
It's
that
about 245
245? That's a lot.
currently.
Is there one in particular that really stood out to you that you um, cherish more than the
Uh,
255?
there's ones I like for different reasons. There's ones that I painted and I feel like, yeah, this one feels like I captured it and it feels really good. There's those ones that just from a execution standpoint, I feel like I did a pretty good job. But it may
Oh, I
not be the
found, I
best
found, I
story.
found, I found the one that actually I saw here, Elizabeth, and you probably, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, she's a Hawaiian
That
doctor.
was, I mean, when you look at that, it's it's amazing. It's almost like you can feel what Elizabeth was feeling on this
Yeah.
day, and it really
Ignacio, right?
is.
Something like that.
Yes,
Elizabeth Ignacio.
yes.
See, I remember all these people because I spent time with
Oh,
them,
and
like
this one,
three.
this was this was the first one that I saw.
Yeah, she's
Um,
a nurse from Colorado.
right here.
She was a traveling nurse that spent
Her
time in
face
different
and the way
places.
you captured this is just incredible.
Yeah,
That's
so some of them execute pretty well, but then there's others that you know the story behind it,
mm,
and you're just like, wow, these people are amazing.
yeah. This one that I'm looking at is Dr. Christina McRosty,
Yeah, McRosty.
pulmonologist. Yeah, that's incredible. Now, do you follow up with these people afterwards or?
A lot of them are on my Instagram, still friends, and we're on Facebook, and I'm friends with them, so
Yeah.
I see their pictures and things.
And how,
So yeah, I do.
so right now, are you still doing a lot of them, or you're back to work because we're not in lockdown
Well,
anymore?
I've never not been back to work. I've
Okay.
always been working at work, but um, looking at the spreadsheet, if I'm going back to my spreadsheet, I have a list that has 338 total, and
338.
I've done 245. I think I haven't mentioned it. Well, now you're getting a scoop, as I'm probably going to stop at 365.
You can't stop now, Steve.
At 365 will be one full year, and if I finish at the year mark with 365, that might be good. But well, it's still quite a few left. That's over 100 still to do. So
And this is, you're calling it the Healing Portrait Series COVID-19, right?
Healing Portrait Series was the Albany Center Galleries. Uh, Healing Portraits of the Pandemic is what that was, but I
Oh,
call it my COVID series
okay.
because it's not. I mean, they're all medical workers, but there's also other one's a mortician.
Mm,
That when you're talking about ones that have stuck out to me, this is one that was definitely there was a mortician that lived in Jersey, and her family worked at 9/11 when that happened, and she lived in Seattle, but she came and went to New York City to deal with all the bodies because there's
mhm.
so many. They have big semi trailers of these refrigerated trucks taking people out daily, and her story is just amazing.
Wow. I haven't seen that one, but I'm gonna check that.
It's
It's on your
yeah,
face.
it's on my feed.
Okay. What else do you want to tell people?
All these nurses and doctors are dealing with really long hours and people dying on a regular basis, and trauma, and people are passing away and they don't get to be with their family, so they're the only people with them. It's
Right.
just like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
We don't see that.
No, we don't.
No, but they're living with it daily. So it's that's what I want people to know is, look, these guys are really amazing people, and less about me and more about them.
They're there. They're
Yeah,
there.
they're there. They're living it,
They're
and
fighting it.
they'll tell you it's they don't care what skin color you have or whatever.
Right.
You're a patient, and they take care of you.
Steve, you are so inspiring.
Well, thanks.
This is so cool. Like, you do gaming and now you're doing this. Two completely different things.
Yeah, well, one's more fun and one's more, reality. But you could look at my Facebook and Instagram pages. They're _Derrick_bunker boy.
Mhm.
Uh, and just to be clear, I don't live in a bunker, even though my studio's in my basement. My mom's maiden name is Bunker,
Oh, that's
so
so
I'm a
cool.
bunker boy because I'm actually from my mom's side of the
Not
bunker.
because
So
you live in a bunker.
not because I live in a bunker. I'm getting a lot of press from it because I think people really they connect with it.
Mm,
They can feel the emotion, and the paintings I've been doing aren't just cutesy paintings. They're they're real. I capture the bags under their eyes, the bloodshot eyes, and the whole everything. So
that's incredible.
I try to make it feel real.
That is what's incredible about it. You see a lot of people who do portraits, I've seen a lot, but as I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across that, it's like what you're saying, the emotion, it's there. You cannot not look at one of those portraits and not have some kind of feeling attached to it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so incredible.
There's some that we're talking about, some that really hit me. Another couple that really hit me is there's some that were uh, snapshots of them on Facebook, not Facebook, but Zoom, like a Zoom call with their family, and they're crying. And I lost a patient, and their
Oh,
brother snapped the picture, and that's what was sent. So I have some nurses that are actually really emotional in their picture, and that's what was captured. So those are Those are amazing ones.
Wow. You made this, bad situation and with something positive. So
That's that goes back to the reason I started it,
right.
right?
Yes.
Is I wanted to focus on something positive,
Yes.
and it's totally changed my experience with COVID. I mean, my wife's and my experience. We live in the same house, but she works as a retail manager, and her experience from this whole COVID situation is like, I can't,
Right.
people, and I'm like, people, they're so amazing, they're wonderful, and it's just so different.
Because you're drawing them and she's actually
I'm
dealing
drawing the
with
positive
people out
side and the
there. Right.
great side, right?
Right.
She's
Yeah.
dealing with people that are frustrated about getting office supplies because they got to work from home and
Right.
schooling kids at home.
You're turning a bad situation into a good positive outlook of it.
It's been so for me, that's for sure.
Thank you so much. Anything you would like to add for anyone who is watching this?
Um, no, thanks for doing this kind of stuff.
Thank
I
you.
like your positive, your good news. That's good
We need
stuff.
more of that.
Spread it. Yeah.
Everything is so depressing out there.
Yeah,
I,
but
I actually
there's some good stuff too.
I actually canceled my cable.
I haven't watched news for a long time.
I couldn't deal with it anymore. I said something needs to change. We need to have happy things. People need to, even though we're going through this, I think people forget to laugh. And that's probably why your wife has a different experience in retail, because you do come across even people who are working with customer service, it's different. And I say everybody blames everything on COVID now, but it's just everybody's, I don't know if it's because people were cooped in and just the whole entire thing, but people are snapping. So
Yeah.
and they're
Well, there's
forgetting
no
to
end in
laugh.
sight. There wasn't an end in sight. It was like, this is going to happen forever. There's no normal anymore.
Right. Someone actually, I heard this yesterday saying that, people were hoping and saying that 2021, it's, hoping for it to go back to normal, but now they're saying 2021 is 2020 on steroids. I thought that was original.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and that's what I said before. I said, listen, there is no normal. This is what is normal now. So we just have to adapt, and you just have to find the right side of it, even
Yeah.
though, if people are being affected by it, it's hard to find a bright side. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
The
Thanks so much.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.